Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we're going to be talking about Biden and his claim to how everybody's more financially comfortable. I don't know about you, but my tank of gas has gone up about $30 to $20 to $30, give or take. That's my normal gas intake. I always say probably 25 to 35 because it's usually 74. But it's actually starting to go up. I think I'll be reaching around $80 a tank now, thanks to, Biden. But I digress. But he says everybody's financially more stable. Let's get into it. Biden's claims more Americans feel financially comfortable since he took office. This afternoon, President Joe Biden said in a prepared statement that since he took office, Americans feel financially comfortable. Obviously, you're being incredibly in denial, and you're not being honest at all because people are not more financially stable or comfortable for that matter. But keep on being a lunatic. And this is what he says.
Since I took office, families are carrying less debt. Their average savings are up. A recent survey from the Federal Reserve found that more Americans feel financially comfortable than any time since the survey began in 2013.
Yeah, that's a lie. So are we going to go and talk about on how the gas prices are up? They're expected to reach $5 nationwide. The food prices are up. So that's happening. There's inflation. So how exactly is everybody more financially stable than compared to 2013 when we have three of those major things happening? Biden, you're living in a delusional state. Biden's claim was part of his speech on the May jobs report, where he further said families have less debt and that their savings are up. These remarks are in light of record high inflation. Yeah, I don't know about that one. So we're going to also do this with their inflation and supply shortages.
All right, I want to switch gears here just a little bit and get your take on the economy. Biden came out today and tried to blame ultra MAGA people for this, and his economic advisor, Cecilia Rouse, was on TV, and she actually had a different take on why inflation is so high. I want to play this and get your reaction. This is cut 7.
This is a consequence of having an effective strategy against the pandemic. So this is why the president understands that the Federal Reserve needs to do its job. And he urges Congress to confirm all of his nominees so that they have a full slate and can address their dual mandate of price stability and full employment. We understand that that is the economic challenge in front of us. That is what he is focused on every day.
So now we're hearing that inflation is the effective strategy against the pandemic. And we've also heard that it's Putin's fault. We've heard that it's ultra MAGA's fault. We've heard that it's everyone's fault except for Joe Biden's.
That's tend to what they always seem to do. They're always trying to deflect blame off of him or off of themselves and direct it to other reasons. No, we all know that the gas prices started going up before Putin started invading Ukraine. We all know that inflation started to rise before Putin started to come in, and he's starting to blame it on Donald Trump when none of this was happening under Donald Trump under the 4 years that he was within office, but it started almost immediately once Biden got into office. See, the Democrats want to come down and tell you that, oh, well, this is not a problem, it's all in the help of Trump. Yeah, no, it's not. So this is a common trend.
Do you think voters are going to buy this?
Not at all, because what's going to happen is, don't forget, you got a lot of time between now and November, and Americans are going to see their 401ks going down. They're going to see how much gas prices are going up. They're going to see their grocery prices going up. They're going to see how they can't find baby formula if they need it, and that's just one of the things we know about. How many other things are out there they can't get? Look at the cost of cars. Chips for the cars are not available, and those are spiking. New cars are spiking. Used cars are spiking. Americans cannot afford life under Joe Biden, so when they get to the polls, are they going to say, oh, I really care about that abortion thing so much I'm going to vote for the Democrats? Or are they going to say, I can't afford anything anymore? The Democrats seem to think that abortion is this winning issue. What they don't realize is with the amount of contraceptives out there and the amount of abortions going down in this country, most Americans, this is not a hot button priority for them. So they're going to vote with their wallet. wallets. And we see that they've been voting with their feet because they are escaping Democrat policies of these Democrat states, and they're going to places like Florida. They're going to places like Tennessee. They're going to places like Texas. California lost a congressional seat. New York lost a congressional seat. People are voting with their feet, and they're not going to vote for more of this nonsense, especially when they can't afford to do things for their kids.
I'm glad.
I also agree with this because again, they're actively thinking that everybody that is for that does abortion is this insane freaking lunatic that that everybody wants to kill children, which I would agree that's a very slow minority, a very not slow minority. What am I saying? A very small minority of people. And this is not the bigger issue. Abortion issues is not going to make people want to vote Democrat just because, oh, well, the abortion issue is like, no, it's like that can, if we really want to tackle that, we can tackle that at a later time. Right now, I need to be able to put food on the table. Right now, I need to be able to pay my bills. Right now, I need to make ends meet. And if they can't do that, people can start becoming very panicked, start doing more dangerous stuff, and just find a way to survive and meet ends meet so they can put food on the table. And when you see this and you see the person who's responsible for this, it's not going to be the underlying factors like, oh, abortion's the big issue, or wow, the gun thing is an issue, when it's not going to be an issue because the majority of Americans has gone up by 33% for the whole gun thing in the first place for constitutional rights and other kinds of rights. So again, they're trying to play these things as, being huge wins when they're not really wins. If anything, they're losses for them. When you see people going out and trying to advocate for all the shootings and stuff and blaming everybody but themselves and not blaming the police, when there was actually unity for once in this country, to where both the left and the right were both saying that we're both angry at the police for this. So you going out, which is the Guterres guy, I may believe, saying that like, oh, the police are not responsible, or the police chief is not responsible, yet we actively see them tasering fathers and mothers and pepper spraying them and not allowing them to go in, and then actively getting rid of their duty. You're not going to be winning people with this. That's not good. Because the majority, I would say almost the majority, if not all of America, would say, no, we don't agree with you. That's wrong. Look what the police did. Why are you defending the police for something that they are actually the ones that are wrong? See, they're just trying to cater to the actual populace of people when that's not the case. You sing unity, and the unity was that the people were angry at the police. You could go after Greg Abbott all you want, I don't really care. But at the end of the day, is that's not going to win you anything at all.
You brought up the baby formula, but because I can't help but notice that when there's an issue going on that the White House doesn't want to address or doesn't think it's going to help them politically, they really just pass the buck and they say, oh, this is the FDA is working on that. They don't really have any comment. They did the same thing when companies were being hacked. Oh, they're private companies. They don't have any answers anymore, Ari. They used to have all of the answers. Jen Psaki said the FDA is in charge of baby formula. This is a big issue. This is something that is very scary to a lot of mothers out there. And once again, we're seeing that the Biden administration doesn't care about Americans.
No, of course not. I remember when my kids were younger, and I would have to go and see them like once a week to Costco to get one of those massive cases of the baby formula. I can't imagine what we would do without it. Not every woman can nurse. Some parents need that stuff because of allergies and such. They can't give their kids other things. This is really scary that in the United States of America, people can't feed their kids. But I guess the Democrats don't want us having kids anyway, so it doesn't really matter if there's food for them. No, they're just going to blow right past this. Anything that's outside their narrative, they get rid of. I mean, remember back when all the shelves were empty? Not that a lot of them are much fuller now, but you had people on CNN like Brian Stelter saying, what are you talking about? I don't see empty store shelves. Really, Brian? Come on over to my grocery store. See what it looks like. See what the prices look like. Maybe then you'll understand how bad this is.
I know I go to my store practically almost every day, and I see store shelves that are empty on certain stuff. That's been a huge issue. Maybe not as bad as it was, but I've had multiple shelves in my store where they have been completely empty. And not only that, they specifically said to where the eggs, since the eggs are going up due to shortages and stuff like that. Like this is a huge deal. Like, these people are living in the false reality, and they're not going to be winning this.
All right, I want to switch up them politically. They really just pass the buck and they say, seeing that the Biden administration doesn't care about Americans.
No, of course not. I remember when my kids were younger, and I would have to go and see them like once a week. Parents need that stuff because of allergies and such. They can't give their kids about it. I don't see empty store shelves. Really, Brian? Produce constantly in low supply or not even there. You're seeing so many gaps in the grocery stores. It's all part of the supply chain. And Pete Buttigieg, I don't even know where he is. Maybe he's on maternity leave again for a baby he didn't have.
I was just going to say, Ari, that all this stuff you're talking about, Joe Biden tells us that's just B-roll. That's just the mainstream media coming up with old B-roll and playing it on the news.
Yeah, and this is a big deal. We're going to continue with this article. According to CNBC, American consumers ended last year with a cumulative $15.6 trillion of debt, which they described as a record-breaking increase. In today's remarks, Biden did not clarify the metric he used to qualify this claim. In March of last year, Biden passed this American Rescue Plan, which is a $1.9 trillion stimulus package that continued payments directly to American families. Economic impact payments of $1,400 went to individuals, $2,800 for married couples, and $1,400 each dependent. The bill also extended unemployment benefits, continued to the eviction moratorium, and dispensed cash in a variety of other ways to state and local governments. Despite the White House blaming Putin for current record inflation, the stimulus was responsible for overheating the American economy and causing record inflation. When too much money chases the scarcity of goods, it devalues the dollar and rendering the value of savings significantly less. As Fortune reports, American savings has actually hit recession-era lows. Biden said a recent survey from the Federal Reserve found that more Americans feel financially comfortable than any time since the survey began in 2013. The survey in reference is the survey of consumer finances, where families volunteer 2 hours or more of questioning. The survey is conducted every 3 hours from a random sampling of anywhere between 4,500 to 5,500 families, the Post-Miller reported. Biden is facing anger and frustration as Americans are struggling with historic inflation, its effect on the economy, and a possible recession. Agreed. And then we'll see this. And we'll see that American savings hit great recession era lows. So much for all that extra cash stashing away during the pandemic. So we have all this stuff. The personal savings was 4.4% in April, according to data from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, which we could go here. Personal income increased $80.9 billion, 0.4 in April, according to the estimates released today by the Bureau. Economic tables 3 and 5. Disposable personal income increased $48.3 billion, 0.3%, and personal consumption expenditures increased $452 billion. Real DPI increased less than 0.1% in April, and real PCE, increased 0.7%. Goods increased 1.0%, and services increased 0.5%. So, as we can see, personal income, January, 2.6. The increase in personal income in April primarily reflected an increase in compensation and personal income receipts on the assets that were effectively offset by a decrease in proprietor's income. Table 3, within compensation, the increase reflected an increase in both private and wages and salaries. So, if we go here, the savings topped out at a record-breaking 33.8% in April 2020 at the height of the COVID-19 lockdowns, up from over 8% in February 2020. Right before the pandemic reached the U.S., it stayed elevated above 10% until June 2021, thanks in part to stimulus efforts and pandemic restrictions above 8% through the end of the year. As a result, the financial well-being of Americans reached out an all-time high in 21, according to the Federal Reserve. So, now we have this here, where we go. In fact, a recent study found that adults are saving $243 less each month on average, and this is due to dramatically different. Inflation has taken a huge bite out of household savings. Americans have 15% less in retirement savings today than they did a year ago, average as they buy more goods and services than before and pay more for them. Dipping into savings, keeping spending isn't necessarily a cause for alarm. However, we see employers will want to meet consumer demands for services and goods and services, which in turn means making sure they have enough workers, say Conkill. We've already seen strong employer demand for workers, and this morning's report suggests consumer spending will continue to support that demand. Still, inflation is a top concern for households. It was up 8.3% in April year over year, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's down slightly from March, a good sign for consumers, but still well above the government 2% target. Savings could fall even more. So what we're seeing here is that savings are falling, and all this other stuff. We go over here, and it's going to show how everything's been decreased. I'll be putting these all in the description here so you guys can see them. So yeah, it's a huge problem. I honestly know where the Democrats are going with this, because it's completely tone deaf. You don't care about the Americans, and it's really showing. Alright guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.